haven't set up a starting screen in OBS yet, so we'll do that eventually. Alright, hello everyone, and welcome to Satisfactory. So, we are still working away on our assembly director system factory, but also, more fun, we've got Christmas. We've got the Fixmas tree up there, we've got our factory over there, and we've got the calendar in here. So let's open up the calendar and see if I can remember where we left off. So we done... Okay, why is this one flickering? Okay, you can just take more day 1 cartridges, but I don't need that. Then day 2 has already been done, 3 has already been done, 4 has already been done, 5 has already been done. So I think it's gonna be like... Is 6 anywhere in here? Did I do 6 already? Where is 6? It's not glowing. Is that a 9? Oh, that's a 6 there. Basic Fixmas skins.
Obviously, these Fixmas decorations do not increase efficiency.
Oh boy.
In fact, they are a downgrade on every level. They can be found in the customizer.
How are they a downgrade? Do they make you move slower or something? We'll have to check those out. Let's see, where is 7? 777. There it is, the candy cane. Very nice. And I already see 8.
That's just poetic. I appreciate a good joke.
Alright, we get 200 screws. Not exactly valuable. Let's grab number 8, which is a new data cartridge.
This data cartridge enables the 3rd pair of Fixmas Mantry branches to be unlocked. There is a chance you are doing this because you enjoy the seasonal event for some reason. There is also a chance you are simply doing this to annoy me. I wish for you to know that, in either case, you have disappointed me.
Oh no, guys, I've disappointed Ada. Guess we're gonna have to wrap up and stop doing the Fixmas event. Oh well, we're gonna keep doing it anyways. Alright, so we've got this, which requires presents and red and blue ornaments. So fortunately, we have boxes over here for all of those. Let's grab a stack of presents, grab a stack of blue ornaments, and a stack of red ornaments. And then we go back to the MAM, and we unlock.
Oh, joy. The tree is fancier now. Well done. Unfortunately, you are only halfway there. More appropriate ornaments made with iron and copper can now be created in the foundry.
Cool.
When I say more appropriate,
foundry,
I am referring to the usage of factory materials as a subtle reminder of your purpose on this planet and the fate of all of humanity resting on your shoulders.
More wasteful though, to be using iron and copper for this instead of doing something beneficial? Oh look, the tree has been upgraded. That's fun. Good for it. So we are going to need those to unlock Fixmas power lights and ornament bundles and snow dispensers and snow cannons. Alright. Well, let's get down a foundry then. And I guess 2 foundries. Oh, not there. Swap to Zoop mode. We're gonna need some more space in here. And I think we're gonna run out of space in this area pretty quickly. And also, if this requires iron and copper, we're gonna have to grab those. I guess we can just grab them from here. Alright. Foundry number 1. Is red ornaments and copper ingots. And I assume the iron will be blue ornaments and iron ingots. Yes. Alright. So that's fun. We are going to need to get... Yeah, we're going to need more space for this. Because this is probably just going to keep getting more complicated. So, let's see here. Where do we want to put these? So first step is to get the iron and copper, which we could just branch the iron ore off of that, and then the copper is probably over there somewhere. It's a bit far away though. Alright, let's see here. Actually, do I want to just, like, find an iron and copper node that I haven't been used and set this up over there? It would be pretty far away, though. No, we're going to do it in this area still. We're just going to need another floor. So let's go up a bit. And now we're high enough up that we aren't going to run into any problems with anything, really. So all of this gets to be a big giant platform. Sorry, trees, you're going to be covered up. Such is life. What's that? Oh, that's a power line. Okay, well, we're not going to dismantle that because it could literally be holding the entire factory together. We're just going to let that be. So, we come over here, and we've got this... Oh, right, we had the massive iron shortages, which apparently we are sending a crazy amount of iron through now, so hopefully those iron shortages will be solved. But for now, I guess we're just gonna have to... Okay, the lift splitters don't want to go on there. But the regular splitters do want to go on there. So we can grab this out. Bring that up there. And then bring it over onto this platform. We're going to want it to go into a box so that it can store plenty when trains arrive. Because we currently have a shortage, we wouldn't need that if there weren't shortages, but there are shortages, so here we are. Alright. So now this box can fill up with a bit of iron, and let's see, how much was this? If we are going to need a smelter, and we're going to need a foundry at the end of this line. So we're going to have a foundry which makes iron fix-it ornaments, which needs 15 iron ingots a minute. So this is enough for 2 of them. Cool. I don't want to overbuild here. Just want to have a good, solid, normal amount. Although I will overclock and probably summer sloop. 25 a minute is pretty good output. So we're actually going to need 37.5, which we can pretty easily do, assuming that we have enough speed. Alright, why is this not... Is that half of a belt? Yeah, I guess that's half of a belt. Alright, so let's get power lines up. And then we're going to need blue Fixmas ornaments, which we might need more than one constructor for. So, where are you? Wait, were these not made in constructors? No, they're made in smelters for some reason. Who knows why? Alright, so we get a smelter in. We make blue Fixmas ornaments. You're going to be 10. And we need a lot more than that. So we can make this 37.5 with that. Oh, we're going to have to go 37.5 divided by 2 for it to line up properly. There we go. And then that belts in. And we need 9.375 Fixmas gifts. Which is, I think, just one tree, right? These are 15 a minute. So that works out nicely. That goes in there. And all of this gets powered up. And finally we have our box there, where we can store our fancy ornaments. Alright, iron is done. Next up is copper. Copper is going to be more difficult because it's all the way over here. And I guess we'll just set it up over here. This isn't that far away, and we can build more trees if we need to. Alright, where is the copper? Got water. Why is copper so far away? Is it? It's past Caterium? How? And why have I done this? Past quartz too. Alright, almost there. This one is the copper hub. Alright, so we just need to grab some of this stuff. And we actually have a platform up here for other reasons, I guess. Is that the right location for that? There we go. And now we can build some trees. The question is how you don't spill a drop of the coffee? Well, you see, that would be inefficient, and Fix-It hates inefficiency. So they designed a special magical coffee cup, which can never be spilled. Probably something like that. Alright, so. Alright, choking is also inefficient. It lowers productivity. So don't do that. Alright, so we get a foundry, we get copper, Fix-It ornaments, which requires 10 copper ingots. Although, do we need to summer sloop this? Let's not summer sloop this. Let's just do max overclocked. We're using like all of our summer sloops on this. Actually, no, we might as well. We can take those sloops out of some of the old ones, which we don't need as much of anymore now that we have like full boxes. So we get a smelter. Which, did I make this line up properly? No, I've cleverly put it just slightly off to the side. So let's dismantle that foundry and try to get this correct. So that can go there. And this makes copper. And then we have our foundry. Leave a bit of free space in there just to be sure. And we need 25 a minute which is not that many. So we've got that. Then we just need another smelter to make 25 red ornaments, which we're actually going to either need to sloop this or just do another one, and I guess we could just do another one. So we've got those two, and they don't line up because why would they? So then with that being max overclocked and that's 25 red ornaments, 25 copper. Now we just need the gifts, which is I think 2 trees worth. Yes, 2 trees worth of gifts. And I need to go back and resupply. Should probably have some of this stuff on dimensional storage, since it seems like I'm going to be using it a fair amount. But I don't really have Mercer Spheres for that, so grabbing more Mercer Spheres is yet another thing which needs to be done at some point in between all the factory building. Alright, so we're going to run back here where all the other gift stuff is, but the copper is nowhere near it. Alright, we have a box right here which should have plenty. Let's just grab a couple stacks, and we're also going to need more branches. Grab a stack of that, and that should be enough. Actually, is it? Yes, we have enough to make 2 gift trees, which is how many we need. Alright, we're going to hop on the train while it's going in the right direction, and then hop off immediately after. I really wish this was more compact. If I had made this in like a square formation or something, that would be pretty cool. Alright, past the Caterium, past the quartz, all the way to the copper. Why did I build this on the other side of the planet? I very easily could have just built this in any other order, which resulted in the copper being close. Alright, another tree. And then they merge up. And then split. Like that. Into those two. And now we just have to find a power line, which we can grab off of the train station. And boom, 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 boom. Alright, now we can just get the space and put in the storage container. And this one I will dimensional depot because it's far away from all the rest of the stuff. So I don't have to walk all the way over here to grab it again. So that can just be going. I never connected that belt across, so let's do that real quick. And any second now. There we go. Copper Fixmas ornaments being crafted. Alright, so because that's dimensional depot, we can just leave now and go back to see what the other unlock stuff is. So we just gotta get past all this stuff, back to the base, and hopefully by the time we get there we'll have enough of everything to be able to do some of the MAM unlocks, and then we can see what the Fixmas power lights look like. Alright, just a little bit further. Alright, here we are. Just around here. Go up here for the iron ornaments, and we've got several hundred of them already. Let's grab a couple stacks. And then we can drop down into the MAM, and we can unlock Fixmas lights and snow dispensers. So, copper ornaments, we only have 33 of them so far. We're going to need a total of 250, so that'll take a little bit. And what we're making 25 a minute, so that'll be like 10 minutes for that. In the meantime, gotta grab some of these ornaments and make our way over here. Up to 47, 48, 49, and 50. Alright, so now we can unlock the lights. There we go. See what Ada has to say about this.
I am sure all the kittens and puppies and even human children would appreciate being able to see all these pretty lights. It is a shame they're all stuck on Earth, waiting for you to do your job so that they can have long and fulfilling lives.
Ada is real happy about this. Let's see, how do those look? More festive take on the power line. Oh, we need... What are those? How do we make them? Fixmas gifts. Red Fixmas ornaments. Do you make oh, you have to make them from both varieties of ornaments in order to make the ornament bundles. Which makes it quite a shame that we did this separately. I don't think there was a way of me knowing that ahead of time, but well, here we are. We're gonna have to probably just drone port them over, I guess. We can deal with that in a little bit. It's not super urgent. What is more urgent is the iron supply, which, despite my best hopes, definitely doesn't seem to be doing great right now. Although this last one is actually a lot of these do have some spare iron in them. So we might technically be making progress on fixing the iron crisis. So that's a good sign. Now what isn't a good sign is, why are you just stopped here? Where are you trying to go to that is not letting you move forward? Okay, there you go. I guess the whole thing is one giant block. Yeah, this could definitely use to be more efficient. But well. You know, you gotta... The amount of time that it would take to fix this is probably quite a lot, and as long as they're technically making it through, I guess it's fine. So the iron is probably doing okay-ish. I mean, the fact that these have some left in them is encouraging, because it means that we might conceivably be making progress on saturating all of the iron demands. So let's head over to the Assembly Director System factory and see what's going on over there, if it has enough iron or not. So off we go. Only there were faster means of transportation. That didn't require me setting up a whole thing for it. I should probably set up a hypertube cannon to get over this way. That would save a lot of time in the long run, but it would take like 10 extra seconds to set up. Alright. Yeah, this is really far away. We definitely need a hypertube cannon heading east, especially now that we have like a lot of factories over here. Alright, over we go. And I believe it's still just not working properly. So yeah, still not enough iron, which is incredibly unsurprising. But it does look like the other stuff is mostly working. Concrete's at 100%, copper is at 100%, so that should be fine. And the iron has plenty of water and not enough iron. Well, I do happen to have some iron ore in my inventory right now, so I guess I can just... Actually, this is pretty well full, so that's a hugely good sign, actually. It means that this got, yeah, a good delivery. So let's just throw that iron into there. No use wasting it. Although it's not going to be very helpful, it'll at least get turned into iron ingots and sunk for tickets or something. Alright, so what is the next step in this factory? We have, I think we left off with just having finished all of the ingot production. So we have plastic and rubber down here. We've got our copper and deuterium. And we've got our quick wire. Okay, so we have quick wire production and all of the sort of raw materials. I think we're past the point of needing fluids at this point, maybe? Let's see here, is that true? Yes. Alright, so no more water needed for the rest of the factory. That's great. We can just deal with solids only. Alright, so we have our fused quick wire. And we have our plastic. So we can make deuterium circuit boards. And then we can use those to make deuterium computers. And then that will have all of the quick wire dealt with as well. So, we grab the plastic and we just bring it over this way. How much plastic is that? 92 point something. So a tier 2 belt. Actually, yeah, so it's a total of 100 something. So a tier 2 belt will be able to carry all the plastic over, and then we're going to have to split off 6.66 at some point. So this belt comes over this way. And it's going to go up to meet up with the quick wire line up here. So let's just build some space for this. It's actually going to be quite a few assemblers. It's going to be 8. So we're going to need a lot of space for that. And let's go horizontal for this. Alright, let's set the assemblers up and then put this stuff in. So we need just like one of these. Let's see, what which of these would be an assembler-based thing? Is this one? Yes, we have this set up. But it's 3. That's fine. We can actually just do 9, and it will use this blueprint better. And not be much extra work. So blueprint, auto-connect mode. 3, 6, and 9. Alright, so now we've got this. We just have to set these to be... How much circuit boards total? 65 circuit boards divided by 9. I have to actually set the recipe to deuterium circuit boards, and now 65 divided by 9 is a good solid number, so we can just paste this across. And there we go. So now we just have to get the quick wire, which can just go across into this. And I don't know what I'm doing there. Let's just absent-mindedly hitting a button and expecting something useful to happen. So this gets a smart splitter, which is right, any, and center overflow. So the quick wire output is like quite a lot, and it's split into 2 parts. So we're going to need... The other one's going to be 140, which is going to be much easier to balance. So we are going to put that in, say, right, any, center overflow again. And then that goes into there. And then once we balance off the 140, this will all align perfectly. So that is quick wire. Next up, we have the plastic, which is basically in the same situation where we're going to be load balancing off the other part of it. So let's get... I guess we can just have that swap be here. What was I using? Tier 2 belts for this? Yeah, I was. Alright, so then this splitter is going to be a smart splitter with center overflow right, any. And then this just goes over this way. And up here. And then up one more floor. There we go. Now we just go up onto this floor. And just gotta get the foundations lined up properly. And that goes right smack in the center. And up there. And out. Alright, so then that. Okay, apparently we can't just go straight like that because the sink is in the way, so we're gonna have to do that instead. And connect all of this across. Alright, now we just gotta power these machines on and see if it works. Alright, so we've got that. Now I must have set this smart splitter wrong because it's definitely not doing anything here. Left, any. There we go. Plastic is now going where I want it to go. So the quick wire is going to be all filled up by the time the plastic gets there. And then once the plastic does get here, we will have our circuit boards, which we can immediately turn into computers. We're going to have to split it. We're going to have to do some splitting for the next bit, because we need to get our 140 quick wire out and 40 circuit boards out, and then make the Caterium computers. We already have our nice round 60 rubber, so that part won't be an issue. How slow is plastic? Jeez, took it long enough. Alright, anyways. We've got our Caterium, we've got our quick wire here. We need to get a belt out of this for 140, which is, fortunately, pretty simple. We just have to go smart splitter. What is it? Priority merger. Smart splitter, I think. So this takes out 120. This takes out 60. Merges up in like that, so that 40 of it will just cycle back in. So now, this doesn't even need to be a splitter, does it? This just can just be connected across directly. So that is connected in, that is connected in, and then this is the remaining output. Then we just merge that with that, which has to be Mark II. That's very important. And then now that whole thing is going to be 140. Why would you do that? Don't connect into yourself. There we go. And then that goes along. This is left any center overflow. So that will be a good old-fashioned Mark II belt. That will be 60, 2/3 of which is going there, 20 of which is going here. And we should all be sorted on that. The plastic has also showed up, and we are making circuit boards. Very good. Alright, so we're making circuit boards. We have our quick wire sorted here. We just need it to go up somewhere. You can go up through that gap over here. And you need to be at least a Mark III belt. So up you go. Alright, so we've got that. Then we have to grab our circuit boards, which I wish I didn't have this going this way. It would be much more convenient to have it be outputting that way, but that's fine. So all we need is to do basically the same thing, but much slower over here. And simpler. So we have a smart splitter here. We have a merger in front of it is going to be fine. Then off to the sides we have a splitter and another merger. So this all gets connected up. So that's going to be 60, 20, 20, and 20. So now this is 40. This is whatever is remaining. So left any center overflow, and Yeah, so you are slowly working. Then we need to connect that forwards. And we should have a batch of 60 and a batch of 25. Or a batch of 40 and a batch of 25, rather. So, we take our batch of 40, and we're going to move it over this way. So we have computers to make. So off we go. And here's the quick wire. So we've got that there, we've got that there. Now we just need to grab our rubber from over here. And it's going to need to come up through the floors. So let's bring these over a little bit so that we know where it's all lined up to. That can clip through the sink. That's fine. Alright, now we come over this way. And we've got our rubber. So this is exactly 60 rubber, which means that we can just use a Mark I belt for it. And up it goes. Up it goes, and now it's on the correct floor. You just have to set this as left any center overflow. And there we go. So now this comes around the corner. And it just goes forwards. And now these are all in approximately the right area. So what we need now is we need a manufacturer set up to make the computers. Which I think we're going to need 2 blueprints worth. So let's get some space there. That should be enough. And this is a manufacturer setup for computers, although I don't think it's the right one. I think we have a different recipe in here, but that's fine. So we go that. And one more. So these need to get set to Caterium computer. So we've got that. Paste data across. And apparently there's no power out here. So let's fix that. You get powered on. You get powered on. Now, as for the speed, we need 10 computers total. So these are going to be 2.5 each. We could have done this with 3 machines, but my blueprints have 2 each, so it's easier to just do it with 4. So we just pop all of those in, and now this should be good. So we have to get, 3 inputs, 1 on the top floor, 2 on the bottom floor. So let's start with the quick wire since it's the closest. So these get their belts. And then that goes in there. Quick wire, check. Circuit boards can go up to the 2nd floor. So that goes in, and the belts go across. Yikes, this power pole is going to need to move. It's only connecting up these 2 machines though, so it is safe to do so. We can just do that, and we're all good. Alright, so now we just need a floor hole there, which outputs into that splitter and comes down from here. There we go. That's circuit boards connected in. And then finally we just have the rubber, which goes into here. Make sure that this is pointing the correct way. Put the splitter in backwards. There we go. And there we go. So that should be computers done. And then we just need to merge these belts up and then put a sink on. So we need a little bit of extra space over there. And that goes into that and connects up to a power line. And actually, let's make sure we have a smart splitter in first, because we're going to need one eventually, and it's nice to have them nice and neat like that. Alright. Rubber and circuit boards still making their way along the belts. Should be there any second. Yeah, here we go. Rubber is filling in, and once it is in, the whole thing will be running. And then these are going to make a computer every 16 seconds, which is pretty neat. Alright, so that is computers, and that's like most of the bottom half of this whole thing done. We just have a whole bunch of stuff left on the other half of this, which is the automated wiring side of things, and the heavy encased frames. Those are going to be a lot of steps. But we've gotten pretty far in this side at least, and we have computers coming out. Very cool. Alright, next up, let's get back to our iron ingots and start doing some stuff with those. So we need to do so many different things with these. We need iron pipes, we need iron wire, we need coated iron plates, and we need solid steel ingots along with some coal. So let's start with the iron pipes, because they're the highest amount of constructors and also somehow like among the lowest amounts. Well, they're pretty easy in terms of numbers of constructors, but they require an insane amount of iron ingots, 940 total. So we're gonna have to figure out how much each of these is. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of these. Alright, it's some bizarre number, basically. And I can't imagine it's going to line up nicely. 8 times 53.981. 3.981 is 430 some. Alright, so we're going to have, in order to get 940 iron ingots, it's going to be a lot. Actually, wait, is this even right? Did I do this wrong? No, I couldn't have done this wrong, right? 53.981 times 8 times 4 is 1700. Yeah, okay, that is enough. So we're going to have to combine up 3 of these in order to make... So we're going to combine up 2 of them to make a full belt, add in a third one to get a second belt, which will be at least mostly full, and then balance that down to 940. Alright, so let's let's see. How do we want to get this done? I guess we want to sort of branch it off to this area here. So these all get smart splitters on them. And they are all going to be center overflow right any. So these go over this way, go over each other, and then make their way out into the free space over here. This last one is a bit cramped, but okay, no, that's too cramped. This is just gonna have to get moved over here a little bit so that there's more space to go up immediately. Like that. And then it can go across to there. And then over there. Alright, barely fits, but it does. Alright, so now we've got these, and we just have to paste these settings in. Did that work? No. Copy, paste, paste, paste. Alright, so now we have all of these. And what we need to do is we need to merge up these two. So that, wait, no, we can't do it like that, because that would be more than 780, which would break things. So we have this, and this is going to be a smart splitter. This is going to be a priority merger. This is right any, center overflow. Wait, no, I don't want to do this on the middle too. I was thinking I did, but I actually don't. Yeah, I want to do this just on the outside too, so that this one is filled up. So that it's then out of the way for the rest of this process. But we do still have to do the smart splitter thing. So this goes like that and into there. This one just goes directly forwards. So this is center overflow right any, and this is priority center medium. And this is pretty likely to have the backlogging and accidentally syncing some stuff problem, but as we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. So we have this is one full belt, because it's, what do we have those numbers? This is like 53.981. 0.981 times 8 is 431.848. So if we get 2 of those, that's more than 780, but it's like 80 more than that. And then if we get 3 of them, then it's more than 940. So this is 780. And then we then merge this into there. Actually, we need to do the same sort of thing here, where that goes into that, and then across, that goes forwards. So this is priority medium there, this is right any, center overflow. Alright, so if that's 780, this needs to be 940, which is our target, minus 780, which is 160. So 160 is 120 plus 40. So that's pretty straightforward. We've done basically that already. So in the meantime, we're going to speed balance that, and then in the meantime we're going to take the rest of this output just sort of off to the side somewhere so that we don't have to worry about it and we can use all this space for what we're doing here. So this needs to be set to 160, and let's see, how did we do this? I've forgotten already. Oh, it's simple, right? We just have Smart Splitter off, that's 120. Then we have Priority Merger, another Smart Splitter off, that's the other 40. Alright, so this is left any center overflow. Got 120 there. Got as much. We'll go forwards here as possible. Then this splits off. 20 of it goes back. The other 40 merges up. Like this. And then that merges up with the 120. And we have a belt of 160. Alright, mission accomplished. Assuming we can get all of the rest of this stuff connected up that needs to be. This doesn't even need to be a smart splitter because it's not going anywhere, but I guess it can be. And then this has to be a Mark I belt exactly. Alright, so now we have all that. We can build our constructors for steel pipes, which we need 10 of them, which should be able to fit in this area. I mean, it's only 10 constructors. And we should have plenty of space, even going over this way if we need to. Alright, that should be enough space, and now we're going to start placing down our constructors. Let's go 1, let's just build them like here. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and let's go 12, just for sake of convenient balancing numbers. 12 is a lot easier than 10. Alright, we almost ran out of space here, but it's workable. Just gonna have to be a bit compact here. Alright, so now we have to just pop in some splitters. Wait, this actually can't be a perfect 1 to 12 because we have 780 plus 160. So let's set the recipe first. So it's going to be using in batches of 100. So let's see here. 160 needs just 2 machines to deal with it. So we have 10 machines to deal with 780, so I guess this is going to be, what's the 78%? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Did I count wrong? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then there's that 1/11th one. Alright, so I did count wrong. We're missing 1 constructor here. And we are going to have to end up doing a 1 to 10, I guess. Or we could add even more constructors. Yeah, so if we add another 2 constructors. Or maybe, no, maybe we can decrease the number of constructors down to 9. 780 divided by 9 is 86. 780 divided by 8 is 97. So we can actually do that. 97.5%. And then we just paste that across, and we use 8 constructors for the 780, and then the rest for the other 2. Alright, I definitely pasted that to too many because I got in the rhythm a little bit. But if it's 8, then this is 2, 4, 6, 8. And the inputs to these are all going to need to be Mark II belts because it is insanely fast. And we're using default build mode, which is a bit weird, but if they're all doing that, then it's fine. And then we get those 2 and this one. So if those 2 are just shy of 100, this is going to be just shy of 200. So that needs to be Mark III for 270 capacity. And then these ones would be just shy of 400, so that's Mark IV for 480. And then finally we have that going across. And that is a good, healthy amount of iron ingots. Alright, and then we have to take, which was it? This one was the 160 belt. And that can just go over here and go into 2 of these. And, okay, it's absolutely spazzing out there. What are you okay? I'm going to move this back a little bit. So those go in, and then these have to be 80% and 80%. So then that goes across, and that should be everything, which means we don't even need these last 2, which means we don't need to go in front of that thing. And now we just have to merge up, and this is like 20 to 5, so it's like 4 to 1, so we're definitely not going to have to do more than a single belt of the steel pipes out of this. So let's just drag these mergers across. Like so. And connect the belts up. Mark I belts out of each machine. And then a good, solid, faster belt running down the middle, which is going to be, let's see, 100. The total output is saying it's 175 plus 60, so a tier 3 belt should be enough. And then we just have to power it on and see it go. And by the way, it does seem like iron is here now. Like, these belts seem to have steady iron on them. That's pretty cool. You love to see it. So let's get this all powered on. So these all get connected up. What? Oh, I don't want to do that. I connected these 2 machines together. Why does it even let you do that? Like, that's never what anyone has wanted to do. Alright. Just barely enough. So we bring that back, get all those on, and we missed one. Of course we did. Alright, so we need to, I guess, just grab another one off of this. Just to grab that one that we missed. Alright, so this is not running at full capacity. Seems like the iron is still not entirely cured. But hey, at least it's doing something. Making a whole lot of steel pipes as it goes. Alright, so we can just... I think we just sink this for now. Because we need that foundation in order for the sink to line up perfectly. And then get our smart splitter and across. Powered on. Alright. So that is steel pipes. Done. The next step is going to be iron wire. So we need to take basically, let's see, make sure I'm doing this right. So this should be set up correctly. So it's just these two, which we're going to need to merge up, but they're not quite going to fit because it's 740 plus 33 plus 13, which is going to be like 780, some small number above 780, which is extremely annoying. So we're going to have to split off, I guess, the 33 and the 13 before going forwards with the 740. And it would be real cool if iron actually showed up. So that would be nice. I would really love the iron shortage to be solved. Alright, so these two are, I believe, about... I mean, this one's going to be more than this one. So let's split off of this one, so then we can merge them together and be confident that we have enough. So we need to get 33.3 and 13. So 13.3 times 3 is 40. So we need to get 40 divided by 3 and 100 divided by 3. So 100 divided by 3, we could go 60 plus 40. And yeah, that should work. So we have this, which is a smart splitter, and that's going to be 60. Then we need to make a belt of 40, which is going to be something like that. And then one of them wraps back. Priority left. So we have that. We have that. Actually, is this right? Do we need another splitter off of this? I think we need another splitter off of this. Because... okay, well, this is fine. We just need this to be a smart splitter. And then that is going to be where the belt of 40 comes from. So that goes back. These go forwards. So that's 40, that's 60, which means that this is 100. And then we have to take that 100 and split it into 3. And 2/3 of that have to go back. Which, okay, I guess we make this a merger. Can you go up one? No. What if you go like that? That should give us more space. Alright, go default build mode here. Straight build mode is not good for this situation. Alright. So we have that. Wait, no, we can't do that. We need to merge up 2 of them first. So we go like that. And then this should be 33, probably. Assuming that these are all connected properly. Alright, let's recap. So we have a large number going in here. We have 60 off there. And it then continues to go forwards with large numbers through there. Then we have another 60 go off that way. 20 of it loops back in. 20 of it goes forward. Is this connected? Yes. 40 of it goes forwards. Merges up with that 60 from earlier. Is that connected? Yes, it is. So then this is 100. 2/3 of that 100 merge back into here. That needs to be priority medium there. And 1/3 of that 100 comes off there, so that is a belt of 33. Very good. So now we have to get our belt of 13, which should be easier, because I think it's just fewer steps. So this, we get a smart splitter, and we get our, actually I think we still need another priority merger in there. And then let's have this go this way, just for space reasons. So that goes there. 20 of it loops back. The other 40 goes forward. So this loop back, I think, is going to need to be a merger for later. Alright, so we have 40. Now we put in a splitter. And 2/3 of that loop back. So that's you and you. And then 1/3 of that comes out. And that is a belt of 13. And that can just go somewhere. I don't really know where. But it's just going to be that way for now. We should label these since I'm not using them immediately. Is that under organization? So this is 33.3. And then let's grab that. This one is 13.3. And then we've got this, which that needs to be set to that and that. This needs to be set to that. Left any center overflow. This one needs to be set to left any center overflow. And so then at the end of all that, we have this belt, which is still going to have a lot of iron on it. Don't know how much, but a large amount. So then that connects across. And now we can just see if it's all connecting. This needs a merge back in. That one I already did. Alright, so that should be okay. And obviously the fact that the iron belts aren't functioning properly is definitely going to be delaying this from actually filling up. But we've got that. Alright, so now we're going to start working on the iron wire, which is going to be the bulk of this stuff. So let's grab this belt and bring it along here. Okay, can we find... Is this the highest floor still? Yes, this is still the highest floor. Refineries are big. So let's find us where the next floor is. And that goes up there. It's so tall. So then this comes over here, and we're just going to send the slower belts out onto this just immediately, and then worry about where exactly they go later. So that all expands out, and then these can go up here like that. This goes up here like that. Alright, so now with those belts out of the way, we can just deal with the super fast belts here. And now we don't have to worry about cutting them off because they're just going up to the next floor. So these two belts are now going to combine to be 740, which means we can stick them all on one belt. And then we're going to need apparently 50... Do I see that right? 59.2 constructors. So we're going to round that up to 60, obviously, and we're going to need a blueprint for this. Because there's no way I am placing that many constructors manually, or even, like, setting recipes on that many constructors. That would be seriously annoying. And we're going to have to split off the outputs of these, hopefully in a convenient way. So we have to get output numbers of 1,000, 200, and 133. So if we can make it so that these output in convenient multiples of those, that would be ideal. So, production, constructors. Constructor, and iron wire. Alright, so this makes 22.5 wire, which means 1, 2, 3, 4 of them. Let's get a power line over here so that I'm not constantly falling out of the sky. And build the other half over there. So we can fit 5 of these. So 5 times 22.5 is 112.5. So that's the maximum amount that we can fit in one of these. And the total we need to fit is 133.3 plus 1,000 plus 200. So 1,333.333. And actually, I wonder if we speed balance this, that would make it a lot easier, I think. Because then we could have the last one. Yeah, let's definitely do that. So instead of fitting 5 of these in here, we just need to get this up to 60. So that's 12.5, 25. So that is 50. So this is 62.5. So we do have enough room in here to get up to 60, but it requires this last one to be... Well, it requires us to have 1 to 5 balancers, which I'm not in love with, but... Let's see, actually, I wonder if we can do this in a more elegant way than how I've been doing it previously. So if we can get a neat 1 to 5 balancer, as opposed to the very messy ones that I've had before, that would be greatly appreciated. So, we have that, and we have that, and we've got this, which can go over there, and then we have our merger here, which takes in this. That partially overlaps Blueprint Designer. How do I fix that? Oh, I think I know. If we, instead of having that be on the outside, if we have you here, going into there, and into there, and then you're going to be fed from there as you were previously. But then we would need... No, wait. Maybe an even better idea? If we take that out... I don't want this to be vertical if I can at all help it. But if you go like that, then you go in there, and then back to there. Yeah, that's actually great. This looks wonderful. Alright, so now these each have to be... Hang on. What do they have to be? They need to be 60 divided by 5 inputs, which is 12 inputs, as opposed to currently it's 12.5. So if we make this 21.6 repeating, that's slightly more. Oh, just 21.6. Apparently 12 inputs. There we go. So that goes across. And now we just need to make sure that this is fast enough. So we're going to have a belt of 60 going in here, which means that this belt there needs to be Mark II. Because this is going to be... Well, it's going to be 10 each, so this is going to be 70 here, which is going to be 35 there, 35 there, and then it'll eventually just stabilize out as they tend to do. So this should be a good, solid, speed balanced setup, and then we can get... it's dark now, making it marginally harder to see, but we can get this on Smart Splitter, right any center overflow. Does this need to be a priority merger? Does it need to be a priority merger? No, because it needs to be, this belt needs to be fast enough that there's no problems anyways. Alright, so then that is 60 going in. And then we have our super fast belt running across the front. Get it all the way up to near the edge. So that's right any center overflow, which is correct. Then we need to merge up the outputs, which is trivial. So all of those go in. And this is not much per constructor because this is very slow, but we are going to be using a rather large amount of output from these. And then we get those little mini belts so that it can split across. Finally, power pole Mark III goes in. Get all these guys connected up. And I believe that's everything. So this is our iron wire for ADS, Assembly Director Systems. So now we can dismantle that, save it, and clear it. So how many of these do we need? If that is taking exactly 60 input, 740 divided by 60 is 12.3, so we're going to need 13 of those blueprints, and the last one will be slow. That's going to take up quite a bit of space, and I guess we just send it over this way. So this goes in. Oh, this is actually... it's technically mirrored from what I would want it to be for that, so that's fine. We can have it rotate like this so that it works properly. And now the iron wire we produce is going to be all the way over there, but that's probably fine. Alright, so then we just set this up. And that's 1. And now we just need a massive line over this way to fit in literally 60 constructors. Maybe I could have put the foundations in the blueprint to save time. That's another thing that I can do, which is quite helpful. Alright, I was in the correct mode to begin with. That's 2, 3, that's 4. Let's start connecting these guys up to power so that we can jetpack around over there. And run the foundations along. I really wish you could zoom out more than 10. Because we're going to have to do quite a lot of this. Alright, so then that comes back in like that. And let's do one more, I guess, just preemptively. And then it's going to be too far to be able to comfortably do it. But at least we'll have a good amount of space. So we have 4 of these. You can count the number of things on the main line. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we just keep going. 5, 6. Oh, gotta get within power range. 7. And now we connect power along. We're not currently over any factory, so this is the only way of getting power over here, is powering this line up. Okay, let's actually Let's actually be smart about this and loop this back to make 2 rows so that it's more efficient. It's going to be a bit more work, but will require way less space. And it'll mean that we're within range of power the entire time, which is a big plus. Alright, so we're going to need a lot of foundations. And then we have this, which we wrap around like this. Wait, actually this isn't gonna work. Wait, no, we have to have it like this, right? So then that can go around to there, that can go around to there. Alright, this should work. Alright, so we have, that's what, 8, I think. 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13. Alright, now we bring the foundations across. And I do not know if I even counted correctly. I probably didn't. But we can do a recount just to make sure. So there we go. And then that can go the rest of the way back. I have to dismantle a useless power line. And then this should all be good. Please place that foundation correctly. There we go. Alright, so this power line is in the way. It does nothing other than be in the way. So, recount. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Alright. So, then we need to figure out how much this last one needs. So, it's 12.33, which means that this is going to be getting 20 iron input, which means that these are going to need to be 4 input each. So if we just... Oh wait, no. That was wrong. We need to divide it by 3. Divide by 3 and we get the correct number. Alright, so that all goes in. And now we connect this system up to here. And we do have some iron going through. Currently, iron is being produced. And then it's going to go around, it's going to get halfway, and then it's going to be stuck. So we have to fly over here and connect the loop around. And also power on the second row of machines. So this goes around like that. Then the outputs also go around, and this does conveniently mean that the outputs are at least partially going to be in just the right spot. Alright, so some of these are running. I don't see anything on the belts. I guess it's 25 seconds for a cycle. That's pretty long. Alright, and we need to power on this second row. Like that, and then in like that. Alright, I am now seeing wire coming around, and this is going to produce way more than a single belt. Produce almost 2 belts, I think. 780 times 2 is 1560. We're getting like 1300 here. So yeah, we're going to produce almost 2 belts. And that is going to be something. So we've got copper now piling up. So we need to figure out how to get these into 200, 1000, and 133. 21.6. Actually, let's see. 200 divided by 21.6 is some weird number. 133.3 is some weird number. And then 1000, obviously we're not going to get anything off of that. So, that is quite the conundrum. 21.6 times 5 is 108. So, each of these batches of 5 are giving us 108 when we need, like, if we could just get that to batches of 100, it would be real convenient. But we can't do that because then the ratios would be wrong and the rest of this stuff wouldn't work either. So, how do we fix this? How do we fix this? We're just going to have to speed limit off the numbers that we want, which shouldn't be that hard. So we get... Yeah, let's just do that now. So this is... Each of these is 21 some. So the first batch is 108. So up to here is 216. So let's cut this line here, put a smart splitter in, and then feed that across. So this is going to be right any center overflow, and now we can take a speed limited setup for 200 off of that. So, how do we get 16? Is that a nice convenient ratio of 60? No. Is it a nice convenient ratio of 270? No, and it's not going to be anything special for 120. So in that case, the easiest way is going to be adding up to 200, which we've done a couple of times. So we have to just get a smart splitter for 120 and a smart splitter for another 120, and those will merge up to be 200. And actually, I think we need the priority merger to be first, just in case. So now we have 240. So that, because these two belts of 120 go in there, left any center overflow, left any center overflow. So now at this splitter is going to be 240. And let's also make sure that that's connected up. And it is set to write any, so that's good. So then this goes forwards. So we've got 240 here, in theory, and it's obviously not going to be that, because we're going to be sending stuff back. So then we just have to take off a smart splitter, send a full belt into that, then looping backwards, we've got this, which, gosh, will it actually fit? Barely. Barely. So, that is going to be 60 center overflow. So we have 60 going there, 40 of which goes into that system, and then back into the priority merger where it is prioritized. So then the remaining 20 can merge back up with the remains of this, and that gives us a belt of 200 wire. So this we're going to label as wire 200. Alright, so we've got that in, and actually let's just set up a sink for that. So you get a sink, you get a smart splitter, which will allow you to go into the sink if you have nothing better to do, and then this just gets connected up to that. And now that this is going to be flowing constantly, we can pop a throughput monitor on here to see if our math checks out. Which there are occasional gaps, which is a good sign. We would expect that to happen. This is decreasing. It's up to 210, occasionally dropping as low as 180, but briefly. So I think that might be correct. So if that's correct, then we've got 200 off of that, and then the rest can go forwards from there. So the next one we need to grab is going to be 1000, which is going to be a lot harder because 1000 is more than a single belt. So let's see. 1000 minus 480, or not 100 minus 480, is 520. So we get 2 belts of 480, and then a belt of 40, and merge them all together, and that's that. Actually should not be too bad. So, if we've taken 200 off of this, then this, which is that even connected? Yes, it is. This is going to be like effectively 16-ish. Basically nothing getting through there. So we continue on with, that's going to be 108. Yeah, so that's 108 plus 16. That's another 108, so we're at like 230 some. Now we're at 300 and almost 40. Actually, let's see. 480 divided by 108. I guess 400 minus 16 is 464. So 464 divided by 108. So we're going to need to accumulate 5 of these rows past this then. So that would be, skipping the first 2 because we're using them, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So past this point, So past the end of this first row, basically, is when we'll have 480. So let's just chop you, this being at the end of the row, as actually incredibly convenient. Pop a smart splitter in. And we get a full foundation area over here. And this, well, first of all, we need to continue to send some over that way. So that'll be left overflow. Right any. So we need to do, what was it, 480 plus 480 plus 40. So if we're here, I believe we have more than enough to add the extra bit here, the extra 40. So let's do that. So we have a belt of 4, and this is going to just do the same thing it's done a billion other times. So this time it'll merge forwards onto that, the extra 20. So we have that, and then this merges up like that. Those two go together to make 40. Then this goes out that way. We have our mark whatever belt going that way. So that's mark 4. That's another 40. And now we can get our sink. Sink goes there. Smart splitter there for when we need to separate it. And then we power all that on. And let's get our sign in, which we're going to put here and have this say 540 and set the image to wire. And then we also want a throughput monitor on the same belt to confirm if it is actually that or not. This is showing 480 exactly, because I forgot to connect that in. There we go. So if we add that extra 40... Wait, no, this should be 520. It should be 520, not 540. Fix that. And obviously this relies on all of these running at full capacity to actually work, which does not look like it's happening. Good old iron production being all waffly. Alright, but that is that. Now, we can go here, and we can go past 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So if we go all the way over here, and we chop this off here, this should be enough to grab another 480, and this one is going to be simpler because we only have to get exactly 480. So let's make sure that goes across. And now we get our space, which literally just needs to be a sink. Alright, so that goes in there. And we get our smart splitter. And now that has to be a Mark IV belt, which just goes along to there and is powered on. This then is right any center overflow. And we get our throughput monitor and our sign. So this is wire and 480 of it. All right. So if we've taken off the 200 and we've taken off the 480, then what remains here should be 133. So we don't need to do any more fancy splitting for that. We can just have it connect off of the end of the belt and go in there. And so now we get throughput monitor and we get sign, and the sign is going to read 133.3 wire. And we power it on. Alright, so this is this whole thing set up. And the problem is, of course, that the vast majority of these machines are not working because the iron supply is deficient. So first of all, this is not running when it should be. And where is it getting stuck? It's getting stuck in here, I think. Alright, so we can connect that up. And connect that up. Alright, so that will help a little bit. I do not think it will fully solve the problem, although it does look like, at least at the moment, we have the iron input. Is this being buffered in any way aside from just the natural buffering on the belts? Doesn't look like it. So yeah, there's obviously buffering in there. Is this... This is the iron train. And it is bringing mostly full cars at this point. And we had apparently just barely run out. It's actually like uncanny timing. And it got cut off before the train made it into the station, so that's not why it cut off. It just like was literally perfectly timed. Alright, so I think we might need to buffer these with boxes, because otherwise we're going to have delays when this happens and it's loading. Alright, so here comes the iron, and it's going through. Alright. So yeah, I think we want storage containers for for these two lines here. And might as well make them industrial storage containers. So they go there. And now we just have to disconnect those. And you go in there. You go into there. And then you go into there, and you go into there. Alright, so now it's going to be buffering properly. So it won't get completely bricked when the train is in the station. And how much is this? It did end up delivering a pretty good amount, but I don't know if it's going to be enough. Hopefully it will be. Because it would be real cool if the iron problem just decided to be fixed. So now we can head up here, make sure all of this is working properly. These two are yellow. Why? Oh, I see. It's just a matter of they're a longer journey through the belt systems, I guess. Let's just confirm. These are going to get up to 14 in time. Yes, they do. As for belt speed, barely sufficient, I think. Slightly faster than necessary, which is also good, because that'll provide a little bit of buffering. Alright, the iron, none of it is getting sunk, so that's a good sign. Steel pipes are going... Oh, this is mostly going now. I mean, some of these got stuff. These... How did you get running? Where did you get iron from where all of these guys didn't? Must have been some crazy wave that passed through where it was fully saturated for a bit. Weird. Weird, weird, weird. Because as it is, the iron supply here still isn't enough. Which, it should be more than enough. I guess these have to, like, saturate properly. Maybe that's a bit of it, but it shouldn't matter. We are seeing a lot of these turn green for longer now. Like, even these super far ones are up to, what, 50%? Oh, this last one's just running because it's the last one. So it's getting all of the excess. It's getting more than it needs. And it's running more slowly. So this second to last one is actually like the proper indicator. And it's at like 56%, which is pretty good. Especially if that's going to be 56% and rising. I think we might have managed the iron wire. So there's still a little bit of stuff to do with the iron. There's coated iron plates and solid steel ingots. And then we'll be done with using iron ingots. And then there's just another row after that of like the stuff going into the automated wiring and the heavy industrial frames, or heavy encased frames. So yeah, there's still... Unfortunately, we're still not even all that close to being done here. But it looks like what we have now is working. I mean, the iron pipes look green, the iron wire looks green. So now let's check these outputs. This is 200, and it's showing 200. You love to see it. Also not surprised, since that's the very first one. It's the one which is going to be getting enough. This is 520 and is 520. You love to see it. Then we come all the way around over here. This is 480 and 480. And this one is 133 and 345. So some of these had internal buffers that they're draining. But this should be dropping. It looks like it might be. Hard to say for sure. But, I mean, I don't think we produced too much. Pretty sure we did the math right. And in fact, 0 iron has made it past this last row. I guess it wouldn't, since this doesn't need 60. But we are going. Now, are these ones up here buffered? Yes, they are. So these have hundreds of spare in them. which, is that going down? I guess we can test that with the old-fashioned throughput monitor. So, this is 21.6 per minute. If this is going to show more than that, then this buffer will eventually drain, and since this is the furthest back, it will drain the slowest. So if this one's draining, all the rest are. And we're showing occasional flickers of 30. Now it's pretty stable at 30 for a little bit before dropping. Alright. I'm pretty sure this was like 298 before. So let's just test this the old-fashioned way. So it spiked up to 300 there immediately after a cycle finished. So if this can get down to 290 or lower, which it is doing comfortably, then it is draining faster than it's filling. Alright. So that will, obviously it'll take a little bit for all of those to drain properly, but it should happen. And then we will be good to go. And this, showing 300 some, that's just how much slack we have in the system. So we have an extra 200-ish spare belt capacity that isn't needed, which can be used to drain out the excess. And then, once that happens, then we'll have to check again, because the numbers are being inflated by those buffers filling, or emptying rather. So like, we don't know if this is actually even capable of 480. It might be that there's just the extras making it like that, but I'm pretty optimistic. I haven't seen a yellow light in any of this in a while, so it should be fine. And this one is down to the 270s. So yeah, should be good to go there. Now let's also go around, check the iron pipes, make sure they are working just fine. Yeah, we're seeing 99% in these. Alright, I didn't label how fast this was supposed to be, but it should be 175 plus 60. What is that? 175 plus 60 should be 235. So let's get the throughput monitor working, and then get a display on which reads 235 and steel pipes. Alright, it does look like it's showing somewhere around there. None of these are having output buffer problems, right? Right. Cool. Alright, so that is going. I don't know why it's showing 99% instead of 100. It looks like it's doing fine. It looks like it is doing fine. I guess maybe there might be like occasional small issues with the sinks. That could be happening. These ones over here are on a different row and they're also showing 99%. Although some of them are showing better. So that's probably okay. Alright, are these sinks running? I don't see anything going into any of these sinks, although this one is. Yeah, we just lost some ingots there. And when that happens, there's going to be like a pretty immediate drop off afterwards. So how do we fix this? Do we just turn off the sinks, or do we find some better way of doing it? Because I don't want to be destroying stuff if I don't have to. It's wasteful. So why is this belt struggling to get through? Okay. Wait, was this 740 a minute going this way? So it shouldn't even be a full belt. But, it's because we're not using these. So first of all, this isn't even set up properly. You need to exist like that. And because these aren't running, we're technically like 46-ish iron above what we need for this, which is why we are sinking some, because there's more than 780 going into this line right now. So let's fix that. Let's do the rest of the iron-based stuff now. Coated iron plates is literally just one assembler. 33 iron and 6.67 plastic. So we're going to have to fish out the plastic and balance it. Alright, so here we are. This is the plastic belt. And it's sending more plastic than it needs to over to here. Ooh, some of these machines are yellow. Why? What is wrong with you guys? You are overcapped. Did I not do something right here? So, back down to the computers. We have... Oh, right. We're producing 65 circuit boards and only using 40 at the moment because the other 25 are going into a later thing. So, we need to take this belt and sink it. Which it's not in a great position for, but we can just send it over that. It's a little awkward, but ultimately not a big deal. So you go across that, and then down you go into the sink. Alright, so that should balance out that. And now the plastic... I'm kind of surprised the plastic wasn't oversaturated to begin with. I guess it is. So it's just filling up across these. And now it shouldn't be doing that. Now these should all be emptying out nicely, and I'm going to just grab the circuit boards and inputs out of these just to get this in its stable configuration as soon as possible. Alright, and then these ones don't really have output problems. Let's get rid of all this junk. They just have lots of input stored up. Let's make sure that that doesn't happen. Alright, so now that is back to being stable. We have to grab our plastic. And we need to get 6.666 plastic out of here, which is not very much. So I guess we can do the balancing here, because this is where we are. So, how do we get this conveniently? It's gonna have to be dividing something by 3. Right, so we can do 20 divided by 3. That's pretty simple. So, first we have a priority merger. Then we have a splitter. That splitter is going to take 60 into 40, which goes back. Alright, so 40 goes back into the loop. And now we have 20 coming out this way. Then we have most of that 20 going back into the loop. And we have our 6 point whatever coming out this way. And this is set to the outside bits being priority. Alright, so we can just set that in now. And this should be the world's slowest plastic belt, which now needs to get all the way over there and up a couple floors to meet up with the iron. So let's start by just getting it up a couple floors, I guess. And it's going to have to go over to the side anyways to get around that sink, so we may as well do that now. There we go. That and that. Did I not connect that? I did not connect that. That's an important connection to have, considering it's the one that makes the whole thing work. Alright, so now 1 and 3 should come over this way, and the rest should go around there. Alright, so now this can go all the way over here. And it's got quite the journey ahead of it. It's a good thing setting up these extra slow belts doesn't also make the travel time extra slow. Otherwise, I mean, we would actually be here all month. They're just going to be very spaced out. God, that would be funny. Extra slow belts that just take ages to get anywhere. Alright, so then this goes up to this floor, and then we need to get it up another floor, and then another floor above that. Alright, so this comes on over and goes there. And up we go. Alright, so that's up to that floor. One more, and we can put in our singular assembler that we need for this. Alright, so I believe it's like that. And floor hole, lift. Alright, now this lift takes it out over to this way. And around we go. Alright, now we just have to put an assembler in. Literally one assembler, and not even a full assembler. Like 80% of an assembler. So we go production, assembler. In you go. And gosh, when was the last time you had a production line this simple, huh? Just put the belts into the assembler. You are making coated iron plates, and we need 66.6 repeating. Alright, so that is that. And then, actually, gosh, this is so convenient, because this is just going to go into some assemblers for stitched iron plates. And the wire we need for that is right down there. So let's make that. It's going to be a bit more, because we need 4 assemblers this time, at least. So let's get some space, and then blueprints. let's see here. Which of these... I have to remember which of these are what I want. Is this... This is a batch of 3 assemblers. So we're going to have 2 more assemblers than needed if we were being strictly optimal, but that's fine. Alright, so then we want this to be, I guess, facing this way, so that this can just go across and in, and then this can just go up and in. Then we need to make sure it's all lined up properly. And we get 2 of those. I think they didn't snap. Oh, that's definitely not facing the same direction. That's why they didn't snap. Alright, you go away. And go back in. You just not snapping at all, huh? Oh, this was set up wrong, so it's not going to. Okay, that's fine. Wait. This fits 4 assemblers. I'm dumb. I was confused. So we don't actually need 2 of these, we just need this one. Alright, so the amount of stitched iron plates we're making is 20 total, so this is just going to be 5 each. So we just paste those settings, and then we take this output, pop it in there. We need to grab a power line from somewhere. There we go. And then that goes up to there and powers that on. Plastic is here and the iron is here, so this is cooking up our plates. And then we just need to bring the wire up. And it's going to be 133 wire, so those are going to need to be Mark IIs, and then the rest of these are going to be fine. So those are all set properly. Yes. Alright, wire. You are going to come over this way, and I guess you're going to go up through that floor hole. So we need a Mark III belt, like that. Oh, that went 1 too low. So we're going to have to replace it. Alright, so that is in. Left any center overflow, so let's stop using that sink. So that is going to go up. And then up 1 more. Oh wait, no, we can actually just bring this down. I remember that we did that for this exact purpose. Alright, then that goes in there. That's Mark III, that's Mark II. And I think I got that as Mark II as well. Gosh, Mark III belts seem so slow in comparison to Mark V's. Alright, so this is going to be our reinforced iron plates. And it's going to be 20 of them, and we can just sink those for now. Because we've got a couple steps. I mean, not many steps before we use them, honestly, but a couple at least. So that goes back there. I always forget that in order to fit the sink in, that needs to be 1 wider. So then we have to make sure it's all lined up properly, like so. And that goes in, and this just goes across. power the sink on. Make sure that that's a smart splitter. Alright. This should be working. It's just a bit of a delay until it starts, looks like. Gotta get a whole lot of wire in. And I'm not convinced that this is... Oh, yeah, there was a bottleneck in there. Okay. That lift wasn't Mark III. Okay, now we have problems in the wire production, which are obviously... I mean, they've failed all the way back to here. Everything past this should be working. But we have not enough iron ingots. And is that just because of train issues? It should just be because the trains aren't producing enough, right? Everything else should be... I actually see a whole lot of green. That's a lot of green for there not being enough. And it doesn't look like it's particularly close either. If we go down into these boxes, they've got plenty. And they're not, like, saturated, but they've got enough reserves. So, then the question becomes, what is wrong with my iron ingots? What is wrong with my iron ingots? Because these are still showing like 80-ish%. And I don't know why. I mean, it looks like they have enough iron. That shouldn't be the issue. And in fact, they should technically be slowly saturating. Like very, very slowly, mind you, like 1-ish a minute. Because they're getting 30 off of the belts. But it shouldn't be like this. Sorry about that. I just sneeze real quick. Alright, we are not losing really anything at all to the sinks at this point. Which is a problem. Okay, this still isn't working. You need to get connected across. Alright, so that is now set up, which is going to drain slightly more iron out of this system, which was already struggling a little bit. So this one is still going fine, although down to 90%. There must have been... The only thing that makes sense is there must have been a train interruption. Like, yeah, we can actually see here it's draining without being refilled. So this will last a little while, but it's not going to last forever. And there's no train in sight. Okay, that's not the train we want. Yeah, so the iron supply is indeed the problem. This one is doing fine because I guess it just needs a lot less iron. But these two are about to run out again. And the good news is, because we're doing all load balancing, we can get up to full speed pretty quickly in between interruptions. The bad news is, we definitely need to spend even more time staring at the iron supply because what we have right now is obviously not enough. So, first of all, we need to wait for train to show up because I need to check if it's full. And if it shows up, it's going to come from this way. So if we have non-full trains running, then the problem is going to be that we just need more iron ore production in various places. If the trains are running and they are full, then we are going to need whatchamacallit, we're going to need just a second train making the loop, which we had to do for oil at one point as well. So yeah, if we go up here, at this point the iron is all dead, and everything depending on it is also going to die. So, is the train here yet? No, there's no sight of it at all. I don't see any warning lights, so there isn't like an actual official gridlock. But I am not seeing... I mean, it's weird. You'd expect it to show up and just be like not very filled. It's got to be stuck somewhere, right? I really hope it isn't stuck somewhere, but it's been quite a while. Alright, now some things are yellow. It does that sometimes. So this is the direction which it would be coming from if it were showing up. And I do not see any trains in that general direction. Okay, no, it is coming. There it is. It's on its way. So let's head over there and intercept it halfway so we can just assess the amount of iron in it. This is rocket fuel sulfur. It's not filled, but that's probably... I mean, if that's a problem, we're completely doomed. Because the entire power grid is going to fail. This one, though, we've got hardly any in that one. That one's mostly filled. That one's mostly filled. Alright, so there are a couple... Basically, there are a couple that are mostly empty and a couple that are mostly filled. So, we need to get back to the base and figure out what to do about that. So this is something that I had noticed previously, is that it's not equal, although these are actually... Yeah, so this is just a lot less in it than the rest of these. Like, the rest of these look like they might be keeping up with overall output, but some of them aren't. Like, the last one isn't... I mean, looking at the output side, it all looks pretty grim, but, like, that one is empty already. That one's got plenty to fill. Some of them are doing fine, some of them are not. And that's either a problem with how we're consuming the iron, or it's a problem with how we are producing the iron. So let's head over to... We can take a hypertube cannon for this. We can head over to the Dune Desert and see if its iron is being fully utilized. So up to jetpack first, so that we can control ourselves up here. Alright. It feels like there was some change. It feels like this isn't quite... It's not taking me quite as far anymore before I have to, like, do jetpack hovering to keep altitude. I mean, it's still enough. But I feel like at some point it was enough to get me all the way back there, and now that's just not happening. Alright, so here we are. We have... I mean, everything here is mostly empty except for this one. So, I think the problem is actually iron ore source. Like, yeah, because this train is going to show up and it's not going to get a full cargo. So, we need to first just head down there and see if we can scrape up any more iron ore in the desert. And then if the answer is that we can't, then we're going to have to make another iron mine somewhere else to supplement. Alright, so that is going to do its thing. And there we go. Alright, so that's that. That train is off. This is showing 291 a minute there, 800 a minute there, 700 a minute there, 300 a minute there, 600 a minute there. So it is like pretty badly uneven here. Alright, so we're gonna drop down and see if there is any iron down here that we haven't exploited. I think I see some over there, actually. I have to pay attention as I'm falling. There we go. So yeah, there is an insane amount of iron scattered around. This stuff is mostly impure that I've ignored, I think. Although there is some pure nodes down south that we can grab. Yeah, let's actually check these. Apparently, I have these signs, which I don't think they're correct. I think I've upgraded things since then. Okay, so we need to just head over this way, grab power to take with us. Oh, and we have a hypertube cannon down here to launch us directly upwards fast, which is pretty dang convenient. Good thinking past me. Alright, so we are now over here. We've got normal something, I can't tell. Production. Minor Mark 3s. We have to get rid of the stupid things on top of them first. Alright, we'll get rid of those. And Minor Mark 3. This one is also normal. Okay, let's bring power over to this area so that we can hover, because hovering is way more fun than standing on the ground. Alright, so that is that dealt with, and another Minor Mark III placed. Alright, then there's these two, which are pure and something else that I can't tell because it's not popping up. Alright, where's my power lines? There it is. So let's bring the power line over this way. And we've got this one and that one. So this is impure, which is a bit of a shame. But we're still going to grab it. Might as well. It's not like we're short on Minor Mark IIIs at the moment, since we've automated turbo motors. Alright, then we get this one. And another Minor Mark III. And we activate that one. Alright, so now we have all of these. We have to get you up to 780. This is impure, so we're just going to get it up as fast as it'll go, which is 300. And while we're there, we may as well add the belts in. So, these two... Now, they can just run separately. We'll figure out how we're sending them up in a minute. These two are going to run over this way. And then we will just head over and grab these two, power them up. They should get up to like 600 each, right? If they're normal. Should be twice as good as the impures. There we go. And there we go. So then we just grab these belts and bring them along. Now we have to figure out what exactly we're going to do to get these guys up. We might have to just run entire separate belts. Alright, so these go along that way. These are going to have to also move in the same general direction. And could I grab a power pole in this area as well? There we go. So these are going to head over this way. And keep on going. So yeah, we have 5 belts going up currently. I don't know if they're all saturated or not. If they're not saturated, we can make a quick improvement by saturating them. But ultimately that would just be a minor improvement. I think we are going to have to actually bring more belts up. Alright, so this one is definitely not saturated. This one is not saturated, although it's close. Alright, so this is the... This one can just meet up with this one, because this is the impure one. So if we just pop that in, that will make that closer to saturated, I think. I don't think it'll fully saturate it, but it'll at least be close. So that's going to be an improvement. This one is doing nothing special. These ones are... So this is going up at 600 a minute. So we can get an extra 180 a minute into it. But I think we just run more belts down to grab the rest of this stuff, because we're not fully saturated, but we're close enough. Alright, up we go, and we swap to hovering at the last minute. Alright, so yeah, we have only a single belt per row here. And a lot of this... I mean, this bottom row here is doing very little for us. Like, especially down by this side. So, let's see here. Which are the ones which are getting the least? It's going to be... That one's that 340. That one is... This one is higher because... I don't actually know why that's higher. I guess just because this particular belt is on its own a lot higher. Whereas this one isn't quite as good. Alright, does it really matter is another good question. So we have what? 3 or 4 more belts coming from down there. We can just slap them into like 1, 2, 3, 4 and then not worry about it. Yeah, let's just do that and not worry about it. So all of this is going to go away. And so now that is going fully just into that, which will be a minor improvement for that one. Then the rest of these get floor holes immediately in front of them. And then we go mark 5 belts in all of these places. Alright, so we need to connect these Mark 5 belts up this last little bit. Like so. And now we go down. And we have to bring them all the way down. And this is going to be time consuming. And I think we're gonna not be in power range for most of this. Although we do have power poles over there, I don't think we're gonna be that close to them. Alright, so these four are the ones which we're dealing with here. So we just keep going. Alright. Please. How small is that power range? Jeez. It's basically, you gotta be right on top of it. Alright, so we're just going to bring all of these guys down. And then do another row off of them. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then another row down. Alright, all clad aluminum sheets are now becoming a problem. Because, of course they are. We're building a billion belts. So we're going to have to take it a little bit slower from here on out. And we could compromise by using Mark IV belts, but that's just going to mess with us in the long term anyways. Speaking of which, how do I know that I haven't done that already? I don't is the answer. Alright, all clad sheets. We've got decent input of them at least, so we're not going to be waiting for like actual months, but it's definitely not going to be a quick process. This last couple of buildings. Alright, so that's another row. Then we can drop down to here. And who knows when we'll be in power again. Here, apparently, is the answer. Let's just pop a power line on this wall, which is conveniently here. And that should help us a lot. I typoed. All clad sheets are back up into the 120s, so we should be able to do another set. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, and almost there for the fourth. And we've still got, what? One full one, and then one more after that, I guess. So we are almost there, I guess, but could definitely use a more dimensional storage for all clad sheets. This whole system is very, very silly looking, by the way. Just like many, many lifts, just like slowly zigzagging up into the sky. Alright. Down go the lifts. And this one is in there. And now we should be just about done. Need a tiny bit more. And, I mean, there's no point grabbing more because we're basically fully saturated everywhere. Alright, so this should be fine. Alright, so these guys can then come down to... They don't have to go all the way down to the ground because we want them to get up into them, but these ones can because they are going slightly differently. Alright, so you wrap around into that. You wrap around into that. you go into that. And then this one can overflow, I guess, into that. Because I do want that belt to be saturated. Although it looks like it might only be a Mark IV belt or something. Yeah, so that belt isn't even full speed. Which now it would be able to handle faster. But with this, we should be doing a lot better. So, it looks like they've stopped because a train is in the station at the moment. Or maybe they stopped because they're full, although this one isn't doing well in that case. There must be a train in the station, right? Yeah, okay, now they've all started again. And we can go back up and catch ourselves. So there goes a train. And now all of these numbers should be a lot better, except for this one, which sort of got the short end of the stick, unfortunately for it. We can slightly improve it by making this system better. So if we have that one back there and right overflow, then we can have you and then go into there, and you are right overflow. So none of that is going to do anything right now, but if this box fills up, if this box fills up, which it's getting like 2 full belts, so it should do pretty quick, then this one will get excess, and then when that fills up, this one will get excess, and then hopefully that'll work. And also, because we've taken the rest of the splitter off, this is going to be getting this full belt's worth of 600 or so. So this should be a significant improvement to the iron ore output, and it might be good enough that we need to add another train on. Alright, this one's about to fill, whereas this one isn't especially close. So I guess we can build that same system a couple other places. Just reuse some of it. Because the more gets used, the better. And then you can, I guess we can actually set this up to chain basically all the way across. So if you are a smart splitter and you're a conveyor merger and you're set to right overflow, then that should allow us to chain 2 full belts basically all the way across the entire setup. Alright, we have a train coming into the station now, so we're not going to be doing any chaining right now. But we do have basically full in most of them, except for this one, which you'll still be able to deliver a full train at least. Alright. That's going. This belt is just horribly slow. Did I accidentally put a Mark I belt in here or something? No, it's just the one that's dragging from the impure node is the problem with that. Alright, so there it goes. We have a technically not full, but basically full train. I don't know why it didn't fill. There was definitely enough there. I guess it only fills entire stacks, so it had like 70 spare in there or something. I don't know. Trains do weird stuff sometimes, but the important thing is that this should be going strong now. And I guess we're going to have to see next time if this is enough iron. It very well might not be, and if that's the case, then I'll be sad. And even if it isn't the case, we might... Even if this is enough iron in theory, we might still need to add another train to get the 900 iron to the ADS system, but we'll see. For now, I think that's a good place to stop. So we've made significant progress on our assembly directory system factory. We got iron wire going, we got iron pipes going, we've made computers, we have done, what else is it? Reinforced iron plates. And so hopefully we can continue, and then we just have to hope that this iron is enough. And if this iron isn't enough, we're going to need to do more work on that front. But I'm pretty sure this should be fine now. It was close before, and now I think we should have pushed it over the top with this. So yeah, that's about it. Thanks everyone for hanging out. Had a lot of fun. Make sure to follow if you haven't already. I stream every weekday from 2 to 5 Eastern Time. And I alternate between factory building games, so I'm playing either Satisfactory on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or Factorio on Tuesday, Thursday. So if you're interested in any of that, make sure to stop by. And yeah, that's about it. Thanks for hanging out. I will see you tomorrow. We're playing Factorio, where we were doing post-game stuff. And that's about it.